All right, now we are going to look at number 5. Number 5 says, what does the word sobbed mean in paragraph 10? So let's go back up to our passage and look at paragraph 10. Paragraph 10 says, I got in trouble at school today, she sobbed. Tears rolled down her face. I was talking during the teacher's lesson. I just wanted to chat with my friends. Now, this question number 5, talks about using your context clues to figure out what a word means. Now, some of you might know what the word sobbed means or the word sob. But just in case, we can use our context clues from that paragraph to figure out what it means. So our options are A, cried, B, laughed, C, shouted, or D, whispered. Now let's go back up to the paragraph and let's try to fit the different words in there. I got in trouble at school today, she cried. Tears rolled down her face. Okay, well, that makes sense. So let's try some of the other ones, though. I got in trouble at school today, she laughed. Tears rolled down her face. I got in trouble at school today, she shouted. Tears rolled down her face. And I got in trouble at school today, she whispered. Tears rolled down her face. Well, we know that it wasn't laughed, and shouted and whispered do not work. So if it says that tears rolled down her face, we know that cried, A, would be the right answer. Number 6, which sentence from the passage explains why Bria was biting her nails? Let's look at our options. All right, so we're looking for a sentence from the passage that explains why she was biting her nails. So let's look at our choices first. A, Bria heard the car in the driveway. B, Dad stepped in. C, she did not know what to say. Or D, she did not want Dad to be upset. Let's go back to the passage and find where it talks about her biting her nails. So we can go to paragraph 7. It says, Bria felt butterflies in her tummy. She did not know what to say. She did not want Dad to be upset. She started to bite her nails. Well, we know from question number 4 that she felt butterflies in her tummy because she was scared to tell her dad what happened at school. She didn't want her dad to be upset. So let's see which sentence fits. Bria heard the car in the driveway. Well, when it talked about hearing the car in the driveway, she was not biting her nails yet. Dad stepped in. When Dad walked in the house, she was not biting her nails yet. She did not know what to say, or she did not want Dad to be upset. So it does say in that paragraph that she didn't know what to say, but then it says she did not want Dad to be upset. She started to bite her nails. So this one would be a little bit harder because C and D could both work, but we know the main reason that she was biting her nails was because she was worried about upsetting her dad. That's why she had butterflies in her tummy and why she was biting her nails. She did not want her dad to be upset. So the answer would be D. All right, now we are going to look at our next passage. This is the last fiction passage that we had on this benchmark. This one is a poem, and if you think back on what we learned about poetry and figurative language last week, we know the different parts of a poem now. We know that instead of paragraphs, that there are stanzas. So there's one stanza, two, three, four, five stanzas. And instead of sentences, poems are written in lines. So that would be one line, two lines, three lines, four lines. And so each set of words are lines. So in poetry, instead of saying paragraphs and sentences, we would say stanzas and lines. And we're going to read this real quick and talk about the passage before we answer the questions. So our passage is called, or our poem is called, Since Baby Brother Came. Toys and blocks scattered around, bottles and rattles all over the ground. Our home is messy, what a shame, since baby brother came. All the crying, all the tears, all that screaming hurts my ears, and daddy can't remember my name since baby brother came. He spits, he drools, he covers me with sneeze. He yells, he bites, he smells like cheese. And guess who always takes the blame since baby brother came? He likes to kick, he likes to pull, and mommy's arms are always full. No hugs for me, it's not the same since baby brother came. But he looks so cute lying on my knee. I love it when he plays with me. A friend for life, I do exclaim, since baby brother came. All right, so we have a short little glossary here that gives us the definition of exclaim. And exclaim means to speak out with strong feelings. And then we have an illustration. Our first question is, what is the theme of the poem? So just like in our first one, we talked about the theme, the lesson that you learn that is the story or poem is mostly written about. So let's look at our options. We have A, babies are no fun because they are loud. B, babies are scary because they kick and bite. C, parents care more for a baby than the other children. Or D, life changes when a baby comes into the family. So let's look at each choice. Well, we know that it's not A because the author does write about things not being fun with the baby, but that's not what the whole poem is about. That's not what you learn from it. So I would eliminate A as from the answers. B says babies are scary because they kick and bite. Well, that is not the lesson that we learn from this either. So we could eliminate B. C, parents care more for a baby than other children. Now, the author does talk about how she feels left out with the new baby. But just like with A and B, that is not the lesson that we're learning. So let's look at D. Life changes when a baby comes into the family. So if you look at the poem, it talks about how the different things that have changed, the stuff that she doesn't like, but then at the end, it talks about the stuff that the author does like and her having a friend for life. So D would be the best answer. Life changes when a baby comes into the family. All right, looking at number 8, what does the word scattered mean in line 1? So this tells us where to look. We're going to look at line 1, and we're looking for the word scattered. And this is another one that we're going to use our context clues to figure out what it means. But since we have multiple choice, we can go back and fit each one of these options in there to see which one fits best. We have cleaned, tossed, turned, and wanted. So let's go back up to line 1. Remember, this would be line 1. Toys and blocks scattered around. All right, let's try each one of our words in there. Toys and blocks cleaned around. Well, that doesn't make sense. Toys and blocks tossed around. That one could work. Let's look at our other two. Toys and blocks turned around. Well, our toys and blocks don't turn around. Our toys and blocks wanted around. I would say that the word tossed would fit the best. So our answer would be B, tossed. For number 9, what causes the speaker's ears to hurt? So let's go back and find. So the best thing that you can do here is to look at what the question is asking. And this would be, we're looking for what causes the speaker's ears to hurt. Why did the speaker's ears hurt? So let's go back and find that in our poem. And if we look at stanza 2, it says, all that screaming hurts my ears. That would be you would go back and find hurts my ears. This would be your evidence. So let's look at the different choices. The baby is banging his toys on the ground. Daddy is saying the speaker's name over and over. The baby is crying and screaming in the house. Or mommy is yelling at the speaker for making a mess. Well, it says all that screaming causes my ears to hurt. So C says the baby is crying and screaming. So she's talking about the baby crying and screaming. So the answer would be C. All right, for number 10, it says, what does the phrase, what a shame, mean in line 3? So just like when we use our context clues to look at the meaning of the word scattered, this time we're looking at the meaning of this phrase, what a shame. So let's look at our options before we go back up to line 3. The speaker is upset that the house is dirty. The speaker is worried that the house is dangerous. The speaker is angry that he must clean the house, or the speaker is sad that there are only baby toys in the house. So let's go back up to line 3. 1, 2, 3. Our house is messy. What a shame. So it doesn't say anything about the house being dangerous. It doesn't say that the speaker has to clean the house. And it doesn't say anything about the speaker being sad that there are baby toys in the house. A would be the best answer. The speaker is upset that the house is dirty. Number 11, what happens when mommy's arms are full? So this is another one we're going to go back up and search for where it talks about mommy's arms being full. So when you see a question that's asking you what happened or what causes, you need to go back and find where it was talking about that in the passage. So this one is asking what happened when mommy's arms are full. The options are A, the speaker has to play with his brother. B, the speaker cannot play with mommy. C, the speaker does not get hugs from mommy. Or D, the speaker has to clean the house. So let's go back and find. In stanza 1, 2, 3, 4, it says, and mommy's arms are always full. No hugs for me. It's not the same. So mommy's arms are always full. No hugs for me would be your evidence that if you were reading this as a passage on paper, you could underline. So it does not say anything about him having to play with his baby brother when his arms are full, because his arms are full. Mommy's arms are full because of the baby. The speaker cannot play with mommy. It doesn't say that the speaker wants to play with mommy, but it does say that he doesn't get hugs from mommy. So the answer would be C, that he does not get hugs from mommy. What does baby brother do? All right, so This one is one that we need to go find our evidence, and we need to, because it says the baby brother does a lot of things in the passage or in the poem. So we're going to look at our options and narrow down to which one would be the correct one. We have clap, drool, jump, and sing. Well, we know it's a baby, so we could probably get rid of jump and sing. So let's look at clap and drool. He spits, he drools, covers me with a sneeze. He yells, he bites, he smells like cheese. So in stanza 1, 2, 3, it has a list of the things that the baby does. And it says that he drools. So I could go back and find the evidence that that is the correct answer. All right, now we're going to look at number 13. This is our last question from our fiction passages. What is shown in the illustration? Now, this comes from the standard about using the illustration to learn more information. Now, we do this when we're reading books. We can look at the illustrations to help us understand what we are reading and to learn more about the story. So in this picture, we have a picture of the speaker holding the baby and the mom and dad are in the background. Now let's look at our options. So we don't even necessarily have to go back and read the passage to answer this question. The options are A, the speaker is upset because the baby sneezes on him. B, the speaker is happy while playing with the baby. C, the speaker is angry after the baby bites him. Or D, the speaker is excited because the baby says his name. All right, now if we look at the speaker's face, it's kind of hard to tell in this illustration. It looks like he may be smiling, but he could be angry or upset. But if we look back at mom and dad, we can see that mom and dad are both smiling. So that means that he's probably happy holding his baby brother. So A says the speaker is upset because the baby sneezes on him. I don't think he's upset. The speaker is happy while playing with the baby. Well, he is playing with the baby, and I would think he's probably happy since mom and dad are smiling. C says the baby is angry. The speaker is angry after the baby bites him. I don't think mom and dad would be smiling if he was angry about being bit. Or the speaker is excited because the baby says his name. Well, I don't think that the baby is quite big enough to say his name yet. So the best answer for this one would be B. The speaker is happy while playing with the baby. Now, this week, we're going to spend some time practicing answering questions that are similar to these. We're going to read passages and answer questions, some of them for practice, some of them we'll use for grades. That is what we'll work on in reading this week. And next week, you will have to take your next TE21 benchmark for the school year.